You need the yin and yang in your mind to make correct decisions. It doesn't mean it takes you off the signal. The signal is you got to get stuff done. But how do you live your life? And so I spend a fair amount of my time practicing my guitar or working with my photography or my watch. Tonight, very late tonight, I will meet a master watchmaker and we will deal with the design of a new piece Unique he's going to make for me. And I'm going to love that moment. That's going to be something completely different to what I did all day long. And we'll start our journey together over the next 2 years to make this piece Unique. And that's something that just takes me away from all the shit I'm going to be dealing with today. And I also tell successful entrepreneurs, in the same day, you will get this happened to me today. It happens every day. You're going to get a call from some aspect of your, what you do, you call it your empire, whatever you want, where this company's going bankrupt. It's just going to go bankrupt. And you're going to lose, I don't know, 10 million bucks on that deal. And that's a piece of information you're dealing with. Half an hour later, this actually happened to me today. One of my companies is going public. It's a 450x for me. The stock will get unlocked sometime in the fall, but how do you fit that together? Utter catastrophe, destruction, woe, loss, utter euphoria. Half an hour later. That's what my life is like.
That's entrepreneurship, obviously on a different scale for most founders.
Well, the founders deal with the same thing. They get disastrous news. They lose an account like a Costco or something if it's consumer goods or service, and they get something else. The ebb and flow is the management of expectations, and your ability emotionally to navigate those ups and downs is part of what entrepreneurship is. But it goes back to the signal. It can't take you off the signal. This is what Steve taught me. Yes, it's great news. Yes, it's bad news, but focus on the signal, O'Leary. Focus on the signal. That's it.
Where does this analogy come from of signal and noise?
It was his genius of making it so simple. What are the three things you got to get done today? What are they? What are they?
How do you know what they are?
They will make themselves apparent. They will definitely make themselves apparent. They will make themselves apparent, and you will realize, I have to deal with that. You may have them set up from the day before. I actually still use sticky notes on my mirror. Got to get these 3 things done, or 5 things, whatever it is, but then something else will hit. That's the skill of understanding, is that noise hitting me, or is that signal? There is the essence of the great entrepreneur, the great manager, the great leader. Is that signal or is that noise? What is it? That's what you're looking for. You're hiring somebody that can actually distinguish signal and noise. Because it could be noise. It could be irrelevant. You have to determine. Only you makes that decision. That's the key right there. This is what I teach entrepreneurs and engineers. And this is the most important thing.
It's that judgment of prioritization, but then the sort of force of execution to get it done.
Can you interpret signal and noise? And can you keep the noise away from the things you got to get done? That's one. The other, which is something that I've learned over the last 5 years, and this you might find this interesting, but most of my, particularly the nascent startups, and you're involved in the same format I am, you're Dragon's Den and Inland and Shark Tank in the US. You put up 500,000 or $1 million into somebody's business, 8 out of 10 is not fair, maybe 6 out of 10. You just don't know. And I love it when people tell me, oh, I know when I make an investment, it's going to work. They are so full of shit. I'm talking about startups. They have no idea what's going to work. And you won't know for 5 to 7 years, which is why you need diversification in the portfolio. But I would go as far to say now, when I meet venture capital firms and young analysts that work there, and they think they're so damn smart. They've never operated a business. They know nothing. They have no idea what they're doing. They're going to hope that 1 or 2 of their portfolio is going to work out in 7 years and pay for all the other mistakes. But the serendipitous nature of success in entrepreneurship is brutal. It is.
So does that mean, though, that it's, I guess, I was going to say, does that not mean that it's highly luck? Investing's highly luck, entrepreneurship must be.
Well, I said karma. I call it karma, but you need executional skills. But here's another skill that I think we should talk about. When you look at least my experience over decades of making these nascent, these early stage investments, these A-round investments, remarkably, and I've done them in all 11 sectors of the economy, the majority of the successes 5 to 7 years later are companies run by women. Why is that? Why is that? And so they don't know each other. They're in different sectors. They never meet each other. Why is that? And I have come to the conclusion, two things. They set goals that they can achieve so that in the early stage of their businesses, they put growth rate targets like 15, 16% versus men at 30% very often. Men hit their targets 65% of the time, at least my portfolio, and women 90+% of the time. And that keeps the team very sticky. They want to be part of so they don't have a lot of attrition when they're small. They don't lose the head of finance, the head of marketing. And that works.